she won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes from.
But yeah, I think regardless of who I played, I think I had a good shot to win, and I definitely had that belief. And
it was supposed to be Coco Gauff's coronation, a second Grand Slam, her first on clay, the echoes of Serena and Venus looming in the background. But what followed wasn't a fairy tale, it was a firestorm. She didn't win because she played great, said Aryna Sabalenka, the world number one. Won. I lost because I gave it away. I did it. And with that one line, the tennis world lit up like a powder keg. Was it sour grapes or just brutal honesty? On June 7th, 2025, Gauff made history, but Sabalenka made headlines. What should have been a celebration turned into a controversy. So now the world is asking, was Sabalenka out of line? Or was she just saying what others were thinking? Let's unravel the chaos, the quotes, the backlash, and the truth. Aryna Sabalenka isn't built for silence. Born in Minsk, Belarus, she roared her way through junior tennis with power, presence, and that unmistakable growl after every shot. She was never the darling of the court. She was a disruptor. By 2023, Sabalenka had won the Australian Open, shattered Iga Swiatek's dominance, and ascended to world number one. But being on top in tennis comes with a price. Like, every quote is amplified, every emotion dissected, and Sabalenka's emotions were never hidden. She laughed hard, cried harder, and after losses, she spoke. Sometimes too quickly, sometimes too sharply, yet for many fans, that's what made her real. In contrast, Coco Gauff's rise was different, sculpted by media training, carved by expectation, and strengthened by grace under fire. The prodigy turned champion. Sabalenka and Gauff were two sides of a coin, power versus poise, fire versus ice. When they clashed in the 2025 French Open final, it wasn't just two players, it was two ideologies. Sabalenka's 2025 season was, by all metrics, dominant. She reached 7 finals, lifted 3 trophies, and posted 40 wins out of 47 matches. She wasn't just winning, she was suffocating opponents with explosive first serves and relentless aggression. Until Roland Garros. The clay had always been tricky for Aryna. Movement, patience, consistency. These weren't her natural tools. Still, she fought. Beat former champions, overcame Swiatek in a war of attrition, took down fan favorites with swagger, and then came the final. June 7th, Paris, wind swirling, the stadium open to the elements, Gauff across the net, calm and locked in. Sabalenka started strong, leading 4-1, but the wind was her enemy. Timing broke down, footwork faltered, rallies dragged, the errors piled up. 70 unforced errors, 9 service breaks, 48% first serve points won. By the third set, Aryna's racket looked like it weighed 100 pounds. She lost. And that's where the real story began. Post-match, the tennis world expected a composed statement from the world number one. Instead, they got a raw, unfiltered soundbite. I think she won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all those mistakes, kind of like from easy balls. The room went still. Sabalenka doubled down. If Iga would win me another day, I think she would go out today and she would get the win. To many, it sounded like denial. To others, a war cry from a wounded champion. The backlash was instant. Tennis forums exploded. Analysts dissected every syllable. Commentators questioned her sportsmanship. And fans did what fans do best. They chose sides. Coco Gauff, for her part, didn't bite back. On Good Morning America, she said, "I don't agree with that. I'm sitting here, classy, director, unshakable." But Gauff also made sure to remind the world. She'd beaten Iga Swiatek just weeks before. 6-1, 6-1 in Madrid. Dominantly, Sabalenka looked like the villain. And then she pivoted. 24 hours later, Aryna posted on Instagram, "Coco handled the conditions much better than I did and fully deserved the win. She was the better player yesterday, and I want to give her the credit she earned. She earned that title. Respect." Was it sincere, PR spin, or a genuine moment of clarity? Fans were split. Some accepted the apology, others called it too little, too late. The media kept the fire alive, but here's where things get interesting. Was Sabalenka actually wrong? Tennis is a game of margins. Errors matter. Mind games matter. Wind matters. And if Arena truly believes she lost that match more than Gauff won it, doesn't she have the right to say so? Or do we only want authenticity when it's flattering? The story of the 2025 French Open didn't end on the court. It metastasized. Headlines like classless Sabalenka and Coco's moment overshadowed dominated tennis coverage. In Belarus, Sabalenka's fans defended her fiercely. She spoke from the heart. She's a fighter, not a diplomat. In the US, Gauff became even more of a symbol, not just of talent, but of grace. Sponsors leaned in. Social media surged. Nike, Wilson, Rolex, everyone wanted more Coco. Meanwhile, Sabalenka flew to Mykonos. Tequila, gummy bears, and swimming. She joked to BBC Sport, trying to disconnect, trying to forget. But can the number one afford to forget? With Wimbledon on the horizon, the stakes are only getting higher and the whispers haven't stopped. Can Sabalenka handle pressure? Can she be a champion when the crowd isn't cheering? Is she too emotional? And here's the dark question. If a man had said what she said, would we still be calling it classless? Or would we call it confidence? Double standards in tennis aren't new, but this felt like a line in the sand. Some argue Sabalenka disrespected the sport. Others say she just gave us something real, and maybe we're not used to that anymore. What does all this mean for Arina Sabalenka? She's still the world number one. She's still the most dominant woman on tour. But now, she's also the most polarizing. The French Open should have been a footnote, a missed opportunity. Instead, it's a defining moment. Sabalenka's image has changed, for better or worse. She's no longer just the warrior on court, she's the woman who spoke her mind, and paid the price. But here's the twist. This controversy, it made people care, argue, debate, defend, attack. It put women's tennis on the front page. It made the final bigger than a trophy. And maybe that's the legacy. Maybe Sabalenka unintentionally did something powerful. She exposed the fragile line between celebration and controversy, humility and honesty, diplomacy and defiance. This wasn't just a final, it was a fork in the road. A Coco Gauff may have lifted the trophy, but Arina Sabalenka lit the match. Will history remember her words as bitter or brave? Will this be her villain arc or her redemption story? So one thing's clear. In the firestorm of Roland Garros 2025, one woman took the title, and one woman made the world talk. The next chapter, it's coming, and it will be loud.